All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's press conference. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday. I'm here with head coach Frank Reich, and we will take questions using the raise hand feature on Zoom, and we will call on you in the order that those come in. Dylan, you're up first.
Coach, just talk about what you have seen out of SMU and just kind of early impressions of them.
Yeah, explosive offense, spread the ball. They do a great job of spreading the ball around. Quarterback super talented, really good arm, can hurt you in every way, and then is really good in the clutch. In those critical downs, he's a real playmaker. So, and as I said, they unlike some offenses that kind of single in on one guy, I think they do an especially good job of spreading it around. On defense, right? A good defense that's, always going to present a challenge. Only a few, three or four returning starters, but, really, really good athleticism, good speed. In their secondary, I know they've kind of fooled around with a couple different combinations, but see some talented guys back there and seems like they're settling in on that. But, what I've experienced and kind of how we're looking at it is this is really about what we do. Obviously, we're going up against a team that has had quite a run and is a very talented team. So, and we're going into their home environment. So, for us, we got the utmost respect, but our focus is more on what we do and how we play. But we'll certainly carry a lot of respect down there for them and Coach Lashley and the job he's done to build a national contender.
Thank you, Dylan. Steve?
Yeah, Frank, you guys won a week ago Saturday, and the passing numbers are great. The rushing numbers weren't quite so good. There's always a thought, coaches always say, we want to be balanced. But like my response to that is it's good to be balanced, but it's better to win. So how important is balance to you as opposed to just doing what's working?
No, great. That's a great point. Yeah, we're always going to try to adapt within the game to what's working. But even, for instance, when the pass game seems to be gelling more, you still want to try to keep some runs mixed in there. I'm not happy with how we ran the ball, 2 weeks ago. In the perfect world, you are more balanced, but I'm not worried about it game to game, as you're saying. I'm really not. Don't get too caught up in that. If there becomes a trend, over a couple games, I start to worry about it, but not for one game. Sometimes a game just dictates that. And, we've had games where we've run the ball well and then other ones where we've struggled. And so that's really what we're working on. We're working on being a more consistent football team in all three phases. I feel like we made good progress in some ways, but I still feel like we're working and have a ways to go to become a more consistent team. And I feel like the guys are working hard at that, and so are the coaches. So, looking forward to this next test.
Thank you, Steve. John?
Coach, during a game, there's one or two plays that we see up in the booth that we go, "Whoa, that was something." The throw to Micah late or the play in the fourth quarter where he caught the pass in the flat and went 54 yards. That was a great block from Caden, by the way. But just talk about the backs as pass catchers, how you think about that, what talents they possess in that regard.
Yeah, it was as you said, a great block by Caden, but a great individual effort by Micah as well. Good read by Ben to get it out to him quick. And yeah, I mean, we get the ball in space. I mean, Micah's done some damage there. And so we want to continue to look to do that. Kind of like SMU, our kind of MO is to spread the ball around. We're not going in thinking one guy's the lead guy in the run game or the pass game. We're going to try to spread the ball around and, we're going to read stuff out. There's a progression on every play, run, pass, how we're doing things, and let the players make it right. That's why you need good players. They have to make you right. You put the ball in their hand, they're reacting to, you prepare, but then they're reacting to what they see, making good decisions, and then having the skill and the athleticism to make big plays. And that play is a good example of one of them.
Ben?
Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on kind of the timing of this bye week. Obviously, a lot better to enter a bye week off a win than a loss, but just talk about kind of how you feel this bye week fits in timing wise with the season, and also just kind of what your main points of emphasis have been during this time off here.
Yeah, 2 points on the bye. You brought both of them up, and they're both really valid. One is really play or coach, but like it's always better going into a bye on a win. I mean, it just makes the bye that much more restful and enjoyable. But and then secondly, as far as the timing of the bye, I'm like every other coach probably. When you look at where the buys are, you're just always optimistic, and you always say it's right where it's perfect, right where it needs to be. Whether it is or isn't. You can always find good reasons for it to get guys healthy. We're going in against an opponent who's a powerhouse team, and so in their home stadium. So having the extra time to prep for them, is also can be used well as well.
Thank you, Ben. John?
Coach, I know a quarterback is only as good as his next game, but it's undeniable the last 3 games how well Ben has played, and the receivers are blossoming too. I mean, Caden had his best game. CJ is catching all kinds of balls. Bryce Farrell's had his best year in his career to this point. Can you explain that transformation? I mean, is it just as simple as the day-to-day stuff that isn't really all that exciting, or have you noticed something special in Ben or in these guys that allow this kind of progress over a 3-week period?
Yeah, I mean, it's a credit to the players. They've worked really, really hard, and to the coach, coaches, the offensive staff. And since we're just talking, you're asking about the offense. I think the offensive staff has done a good job to, developing the players, developing the system. There is when we installed a new system, so there's going to be a natural progression for the players learning that system and putting it to work. But ultimately, the players got to make the plays. And Ben at the quarterback position has done a particularly good job of getting better every week, gaining more confidence. But listen, this is a week-to-week thing now. We got to prove it every week, and we do feel a little bit that we have made progress, but this is going to be the biggest test of the year for sure, going up against this team. And we know they're well coached. We know they're going to play hard. We know it's a hostile environment, and so we look forward to the test.
Troy?
Quick personnel question. How are Simi Pale and Josiah Galvan doing?
Yeah, they're both making good progress. Simi, was talking to him yesterday just for a minute. Yeah, so I think we'll just leave it at that. They're both making good progress, but probably not quite there yet.
One more thing, if I can. Not exactly at the midpoint of the season yet. 5 games in, 7 to go, but might as well consider it kind of a midterm kind of point of the year. What's your midterm evaluation of this squad? Things that you might have experienced or things that you might have expected coming in that maybe you surpassed or maybe you haven't quite been up to snuff? What's your midterm evaluation of the squad?
Love this team. I mean, I love this team. I mean, these guys work so hard, and it means a lot to them. There's a real brotherhood on this team. There's a closeness, a chemistry, that I really feel it every day that I come in here. And it's so much fun to coach these guys and to go to battle with these guys, and mostly go to practice with these guys and fight to get better. So, we made some progress. I think we'd like to be a little bit further ahead than we are right now in the win and loss column, but I feel like we're making progress, and and that's what I'm happy about. Do you have the right process? And we do have the right process. And do you have the right people? Yeah, we do. So as long as we keep fighting to get better every week, I think that's going to give us our best chance to ultimately reach the, whatever the highs that we can reach this year. The only way to get there is day to day fighting those battles to get better as players and coaches.
John?
Here, Frank, here's the predictable one. The 11 a.m. local start, 9 a.m. body time. It is nipped Stanford in the heels a couple of times in the last 10 or 12 years. What's your approach to that? What's the overall sort of that whole 9 a.m. body time thing?
Yeah, as a head coach, I've had a lot of experience in time shifting thing. Obviously, I've been more of an East Coast guy. I have been on the West Coast with the Chargers and the Cardinals, in my career. So I've traveled both ways. So our guys have done, Coach Dietrich has done a good job, and we've talked about what adjustments we'll make. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. You know, our philosophy has always been with the players, just set, as a player, I just tell me where to go and what to do, what time to be at practice and when to be at meetings, and I just don't like to make a big deal about those things. We are making some minor adjustments to the schedule. My experience generally is don't make dramatic changes. I'm not saying it doesn't work for some team somewhere, but for me and the success that we've had is, you make subtle changes, keep the players focused on, what they have to do and execute, and that's the way we've handled it.
Ben?
Yeah, so a stat I was looking over the weekend is you guys are 2-0 in games in which Sam Rao scores a touchdown, 0-3 in games when he doesn't. So just talk about the importance that he brings to the offense and what you guys need to do to continue to keep that stat going.
I mean, Sam's a really good player. I mean, he's explosive. He's, more than anything I love about Sam is he's a team player. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he's great at blocking at the point of attack, and he's great with the ball in his hand. He's fast. He's explosive. So, but as I said earlier, we're still working to spread it around. I mean, I'm not, he's always going to get his opportunities. I mean, obviously one of his touchdowns was, a long one, so you're not always planning on that. The second one was kind of schemed up, and we felt good about it, but that's usually not an every week thing. Yeah, we're always going to try to have Sam involved in his normal amount of tight ends. We feel that whole room is a good room. Sam's certainly the leader of that room, leader of the team. In fact, so he's always going to, we're always trying to get him involved, have stuff for him. But ultimately, we want to give the quarterback options. You can't predict. You go in and you say, "Hey, well, this defense this week we're playing this. Here's the coverage to play." It always changes up. So you design stuff. You have your plays. You have your core plays. And you build a progression for the quarterback to follow. And the ball is going to be, the ball hopefully goes to what the defense is giving you.
Steve?
Yeah, kind of following up on Troy's question. If you were going to give a midterm individual grade to maybe one or two players who really have exceeded either your expectation or maybe just got an opportunity and took advantage of it, who would those one or two guys be?
Well, I mean, you would anticipate my answer would be I don't like doing that. I mean, maybe I'll play along a little bit, but I get nervous doing that. I mean, I am proud of the progress that Ben has made at quarterback. I mean, he's done a good job. He's worked really hard. We made a change. We made a change at center, and when Fisher Anderson's playing center, and that's a playing center for the first time in his career, and I think he's done a nice job in there. And I think our receivers, by and large, were unproven. You know what I mean? And so I think they're making progress. And I feel good about that. And then defensively, I just think that has really centered around up front. I felt like, we've really shown the ability to have multiple good pass rushers that can get home to the quarterback. Matt Rose is a really, really good player. Not been a surprise, but he's just, having a good year. And, unfortunately we'll miss the first half of this game, which is unfortunate. But, and then in the secondary, Colin Wright, right? I mean, he's our playmaker. He's got a touchdown, on a pick six and a really good player. So, but, overall, right, just happy more so with anything else that guys are just fighting as a team to get better. I think we really have a lot of belief in one another and in what we're doing. We know it's not easy. We know this week especially won't be easy, but we also know that these kind of challenges bring out the best in us.
Thanks for the answer.
John?
Coach, a little more on the SMU defense. Sort of watching tape of the SMU TCU game. Seemed like the coverage was a little bit softer because the quarterback had the threat of the deep ball, whereas against Syracuse, they took more chances and they got the 3 interceptions, some on some short routes. Talk about the challenges for your quarterback against a defense that is aggressive. Sometimes they'll show 6 or 7 and then back off. I mean, this is more of a challenge for a quarterback, I would think, this type of game.
Yeah, they do. They mix it up well. Play multiple variations of coverages, have nice pressure packages. Always have the ability to play man coverage. So I do. I think they mix it up well. As I said, they kind of moved a few pieces around. So where they end up against us, not 100% sure. That's why ultimately, more than anything, I go back to this same answer just because it's really what I believe deep down. I mean, we're certainly preparing for what we think they're going to do, but we're really more focused on how we just execute our base stuff. We don't have to be fancy or get too crazy. When you're going on the road in a tough environment, you just want to keep it, you want to be able to play fast and keep it simple for the players and give them the best chance to execute at a high level. And that's ultimately what it takes.
Ben?
Yeah, you kind of jotted my memory on Matt Rose that you guys are gonna miss him for the first half. Just talk about what's going to be the key defensively to being successful until he's able to come back in the second half.
Guys just got to step up and I mean, it's a run and hit mentality. So, on defense, we really put a lot of effort on everyone running to the ball, but playing with great discipline, gap responsibility. I think our defensive staff does a good job of mixing coverages. We've faced some really good quarterbacks, and we face another one. We face another one this week. My goodness, I mean, you got these college offenses just spread you out and put the ball all over the place. This is a challenge now. This is a challenge. So it's going to be fun. I mean, again, I think it's going to go back to you go up against a team that's just explosive on offense, and it really challenges you to narrow in on, what are the few little variations that we can show that'll maybe confuse them a little bit. But when it comes right down to it, you got to play your core stuff, and you got to play it well. You got to be really disciplined with it. And then you got to have a few wrinkles, a few surprises, and make it all look the same, and you got to put, my experience when you're playing a really talented quarterback is you got to just put a little seed of doubt in his mind. He just has to have a little bit of doubt and so, we'll try to create that a couple different ways. And, but that's not going to be easy because they're pretty good.
John?
Yeah, just following up on that. I mean, Kevin Jennings, you watch the tape and I mean, he throws the football like Mahomes, like shortstop, sidearm and quick release. It's really impressive. And just before he's about to be hit, he can lead a runner on a crosser beautifully. I mean, just talk about this quarterback, and maybe for you, seeing these college guys in this ACC, the quarterback talent, how that's what you think of that. It's probably more impressive to you than maybe you thought it would be.
No doubt. And case in point, when I first got here, one of the first things I did was, in order to get adjusted and acclimated to the college game, I watched other offenses, and obviously with Coach Lashley's pedigree and his career and resume, one of the teams I really studied right away when I got here was the SMU offense, because of what they do schematically and the success that they've had and the success that he's had as a coach. And, and then you see Jennings and you say, okay, well, that helps. You got a quarterback like that. But, they got both. They got in Jennings, they got a super talented quarterback, but their scheme is really good on what they do on offense. It's very well designed. So they do a good job of giving the quarterback options. As I said before, I think the best offenses do a great job of spreading the ball around like they do. And then the quarterback is special when he has to make plays, to extend plays or to make the big play. They've really excelled at that area.
Any other questions for Coach?